To send Kawhi Leonard home.
We just felt that we had to pivot, and not to get into the particulars, in terms of what went into the decision, but, we just felt it was in our best interest, but also in the Clippers and in Kawhi's best interest to move into a different direction. And, we tried. I think we all tried, and we gave it a valiant effort. And, unfortunately, we have to move forward. We did. Ultimately, he was sent home, but we were in conversation with the Clippers on that.
So clearly, the Clippers prioritized Kawhi by not fighting to keep Paul George, so Paul Pierce. Now, how much can the Clippers trust Kawhi's health as they owe him $150 million over the next 3 seasons?
Well, Skip Key, it's going to be hard to trust his health. Skip, look at his track record. He's played in the 5 seasons with the Clips, 44% of the games he's missed. That's tough. That's tough. And then as you get older and you start the injuries start to pile up, the surgeries start to pile up. Yeah, Kawhi is 33 years old, but his body is probably that of a 38-year-old.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? Because it puts years on your career.
Yeah.
You don't have the same step. You don't have the same lateral. It just all adds up. And so that's why it was surprising to me that he got the 3-year extension and Paul George didn't. Because you're telling me you trust Kawhi more than you trust Paul George, who's pretty much been healthy for the most part for them. He's had his injury patch, I understand, and some playoffs mishaps. But, for the most part, I felt like Paul George was a little more reliable. And, this is going to be one of the most mysteriously curious case of Kawhi. You know that, like the movie Curious Case of Benjamin Button. This is going to be a curious case of Kawhi because it's going to be a lot of, as you say, Key, of what if.
If only Kawhi could get younger and younger.
Yeah, if only he could get
Button,
younger.
right?
Yeah. But it's like where do you place him in history? Because no doubt he's a Hall of Famer, one of the great players in history. But for the time he hasn't put out there on the court, you say, damn, if he had been a little more healthy, could he won an MVP of the league? Could he have won a couple more championships? And it's just the most mysterious things surrounding Kawhi, too, because even his injuries, when he goes down, it's like, what happened? And then next thing you know, he needs surgery.
Yep.
And it's like, right now, no, seriously,
No,
it's just
true.
like,
No, I know it's serious. I'm just like, yeah.
It's like, he's just, he'll be back in a couple games. And then next game is he's out. And then now I'm trying to figure out what this is all about at USA. Because if it was really about, no, we're going to save him, rest, to rehab, to get ready for our season as the Clippers, then you wouldn't have had him there in the first place.
Yeah.
So it begs to ask, what really went on in these practices? What really went on behind the scenes that led to this?
Well, Grant Hill told you. All you got to do is listen to Grant Hill. He told you what went on.
He didn't. He said we won't get into the particulars.
No, he told you what went on. We tried. We tried. We all tried.
Tried what? Was he injured? Does he not fit with this group?
No, that ain't.
Like,
that
what
ain't
do you
fit
mean?
with any group.
What do you mean tried, though?
Tried meaning that he came. We put him on the team thinking that he was healthy. We gave him an opportunity.
So he's
to show
not
him.
healthy?
Of course not.
Okay.
Of course. Why would he? If he was healthy, he'd still be there. He wouldn't. They wouldn't.
That is a fact.
That's 100%
No, but I'm
fact.
saying we're not getting into the particulars.
I don't need to know the particulars.
Well, why does it take a week to learn that?
Because you're watching it, you're seeing it. He's telling you.
I think after a couple days, you should know that.
No, but what if I don't know how they practice.
Leading up to whatever you're doing, leading up to that, you should know that.
No, but he probably, like any injury that we have as athletes, though, Paul, we get out on the field or on the court, and we test it a little bit.
You think he ain't been on the court, though, before he went to USA practice? You know what I'm saying?
But he probably felt better. Then all of a sudden they ramping it up.
Yeah.
And then they ramping it up even more.
Right.
And now they ramping it up even more. And now it's like, you know what, man, this is, something ain't right. Then they test him out.
Yeah.
They look at it. They probably done sent him to some damn doctor with an MRI or his own doctor. And they probably said, you know what? He's limping after these 2 days. There's something wrong. His back is starting to bother him because his knee is, all that sort of stuff. He's not going to get into the particulars because we don't need to know the particulars. Once he said, we tried, that's all I need to hear. That means that They tried. Now you say, well, why would the Clippers? You say, why would the Clippers even allow that in the first place? As I go back to what I said several days ago, Skip, they probably said to him, this is what you want to do. Patriotism, all that. We don't want to get in the way of what you want to do with gold medal.
Correct.
This is your last opportunity chance. No. Let's see if you can do it. But be honest with us. If you can't do it, why don't you let Lawrence know and Ty? Ty's there. Remember, Ty's there. He's looking at it. He going, damn, I need him. Let me call Bomb. Hey, man, we got to get that's what's going on.
But you let your insurance policy go. Paul George was your insurance policy.
Yeah.
Like, if anything happens to Kawhi, to keep our season afloat, at least we got this.
But, Coach, that's something different again. Now you diving me into Paul George's situation. Paul George said they offered him 2 years, $60 million. Insult. Why would I even look at that? I ain't returning your call. Okay, no. I tell you what, we give you 150, but we don't want to give you no trade clause. Well, hold on, man. You offered me 60. It's like the guy when you know how they do us when they come to our house, Paul, Skip. I can do it for $200. You're like, well, I'm not paying $200. Okay, I can do it for 30. Well, wait a minute, man. Hold on. You just told me 200 because you came through the gates, and now all of a sudden you can do it for 30 because I'm gonna pick somebody else. That's the way they treated Paul George. I bet you any amount of money, Paul George, if they would have gave him his no trade in that 150, he'd still be a Clipper. But they played hardball to it soured, Skip. And once it's sour with him, as he said, I don't want to deal with y'all, man. No, there ain't no turning back. So that's where you get that from. That's where they lost. Bad negotiation.
Look, obviously, a healthy Kawhi is better than a healthy Paul George. I think we all agree on that. He just is. He's got some killer in him that Paul doesn't have in him.
I mean, he's
Paul George is too, man.
He's proven.
Okay. So they bet on a healthy Kawhi, and he's not healthy, and I don't think he'll ever be quite healthy because history is screaming at you, it's not going to work. Because you go back to post-bubble for those playoffs, it just every playoff something went wrong. Every one of them. Joe Ingles just bumps into him. He's dribbling the ball off the floor, and Joe Ingles just kind of bumped into him. It wasn't even a foul. And I'm saying, what are you doing? You're limping off? Oh, he's got a torn ACL. What? Your ACL went?
Yeah.
And I will never forget. I've been the biggest Kawhi supporter, especially back to his Spurs days. That second half of that last year in San Antonio, he shut it down. And they still had Ginobili and Parker. And they were still pretty good. And they had a chance, maybe not to win it all, but to go some places in the postseason. And Tony Parker had torn his quadriceps muscle, tore it. And Kawhi had a thigh issue and just shut it down. And I'll never forget Tony Parker, who was not prone to speaking out. He told the media, my injury was 100 times worse than Kawhi's. And Kawhi got sideways with Pop and just shut it down.
That's your boy talking about me. I would shut it down, too.
Shut it down. Get me out of here. So he said, so I got to go to Toronto for a little stopover on the way to L.A.? To get to L.A. And in that stopover, he goes and wins a championship. And I'll never forget the quote that I read from the locker room the game before the game in which he hit the luckiest three-point shot I've ever seen, that bounced 19 times on the rim. It's like that ball physically can't go in. Like it just can't, you know these shots from the corner, there's no backboard. It's just going to bounce and bounce all over the rim and fall. It's impossible it felt, but I'll never forget the quote. Kawhi screamed out with the media circulating in the locker room, my SH is killing me. Because it just always is. Both the knees are no good. And every offseason, this offseason, he needed a little cleanup surgery so they'd go in and scope it out. It's just like they're chronic and they're not going to your point, they're not going to get any better. And you bet 3 more years and $150 million on that?
But you see, Lawrence Frank, as the general manager, misjudged the situation, in my opinion. The way you should have handled that is you should have went to Paul George first.
I understand.
Because of the injury history. Because Kawhi was going to take the 150. He was going to do that.
Which was less than the max.
But he was going to do that. Based on his injury history, I don't know that he was going to get 150 in the open market if he had walked because of the injuries. But he would have got it from the Clippers. So they should have, if they wanted to keep Paul George, they should have went to him first.
True, I'll buy that.
Signed him. And then Kawhi And then James Harden, if that's what they wanted to do.
I think he's teetering, and if this is something that's injury related because he's leaving USA.
Well, it definitely is.
Well, I think,
100%.
like, and I'm just thinking about the player. He should, like, honestly, like, see how this year goes. If he has to deal with another injury, Kawhi should really start thinking about retirement.